A very good evening once again. Welcome to our second edition of News Tonight. We'll start with a look at the top stories. President Yoweri Museveni hails Makerere University for the scientific revolution in Uganda. Police to ensure rest day after Omoro by-election campaigns. Omoro District NUP mobilizers close office and join NRM. While Team Uganda returns from the World School Games France with 7 medals. Yes, it's me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Welcome to UBC News Tonight, the second edition. President Yoweri Museveni, in our first story, has applauded the contribution of Makerere University towards the scientific revolution in Uganda. The president was officiating at the 72nd Makerere University graduation, where 12,474 are expected to graduate in different disciplines. The function was also graced by First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni. We have the story in detail.
At least 12,474 students will graduate in this 72nd graduation ceremony, where 5,936 are male, representing 48%, and 6,538 are female, representing 52%.
By virtue of the authority entrusted to me, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy of Makerere University. Congratulations.
President Yoweri Museveni officiated at this 72nd graduation ceremony at Makerere University and applauded the contribution of Makerere University towards scientific revolution of the country. Museveni expressed the relevance of investing in science and research for the development of Africa.
So I salute, as a witness, I salute the contribution of Makerere University to the unfolding scientific revolution in Uganda. We are going to support these scientists to get Uganda out of dependency, to get Africa out of dependency, and modernize our society.
The First Lady, also Minister of Education and Sports, challenged university researchers to account for the government's huge investment towards finding societal solutions.
And all this is being done using funding from government of Uganda. Makerere is therefore beginning a new century with a very positive note, on a very positive note. And its trajectory is very promising. As we celebrate your success today, I challenge you not to forget where we have come from as a nation and a university.
The Vice-Chancellor of Makerere University, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, wants government to sponsor a program of masters and PhD students to build necessary human capital. This comes at a time when a good number of postgraduate programs are being supported by non-government organizations.
I wish to once again call on government to sponsor PhD and master's studies for students in critical disciplines and create a loan scheme for students in other disciplines. My simple calculation shows that an investment of 40 billion shillings will more than double the graduate student enrollment at Makerere.
Makerere University needs special funding of promoting academic staff to reduce on-staff turnover at the campus.
We need an allocation of just 2 billion Ugandan shillings annually to promote academic staff.
This endeavor to cultivate an attitude of gratitude.
Graduates committed their research towards transforming communities.
And we recommend from our findings that when implementing prevention of mother-to-child transmission programs, the government or Ministry of Health can pay particular attention.
Over 100 students will miss graduation over suspension.
President Yoweri Museveni has advised the public to find local substitutes as a way of dealing with the tough economic times. Addressing the country on current economic situation, Museveni said that increased production is the best solution to high commodity prices.
President Museveni has addressed the country on the current economic situation, calling for frugality amongst Ugandans.
To use frugally these imported items, kukekereza, kweremba-remba, or kubyesonyiwa, to look for alternatives, if the alternatives are there. Either kukekereza or okwesonyiwa, by looking for alternatives. Number two, to use our own raw materials, such as sunflower oil and castor oil and sugar, for soap, as we wait for the expanded palm oil production, which takes longer. But sunflower takes only 4 months. For bread, we can use our banana and cassava flour for bread making, apart from eating the traditional foods.
Museveni says the problem of high commodity prices will be solved using existing knowledge.
A serious problem solver would cluster the commodities with high prices into 2 categories. The imported ones on the one hand, and the locally produced ones on the other hand. You must do that. You must say these commodities with high prices, which are the ones which are imported? Because those are more dangerous. Those are more dangerous. They are the ones which can take away all the blood and you remain dry.
He adds that there is need to greatly understand the challenge and how to handle it correctly. Some commentators had called for the removal of taxes on some of the commodities as a measure in dealing with this scourge, but according to Museveni, this is catastrophic.
If we subsidize or even just remove the taxes on imported commodities, the level of consumption will either remain the same, but this time each liter taking more dollars, or actually increase. So this idea of mtukwatireko, subsidize, or even remove the taxes, if the purchasing level remains the same, this dollar now, as you saw, has gone from 1.3. This liter has gone from $1.3 to 1.48. It has gone. So it's the same 1 liter, but it is taking more from your pocket and from our reserves.
On the issue of petrol and diesel, President Museveni indicated that they are engaging the Western actors.
This was among these people. We would rather persuade them so that we continue with our plan. Our plan is for infrastructure, for what? And try to persuade these people to please remove your artificial problem. If they agree, good. If they don't, we create a higher base for ourselves, where we can say, bye-bye, you can continue with your own things, we are safer.
He reassured Ugandans that working with fellow African nations, Uganda and Africa, will be prosperous. However, the president pointed out the serious dangers to Uganda's future, noting that these are reliance on rain-fed agriculture, damaging the environment, and the nuclear war among the countries whom he called troublemakers. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has urged women in Uganda to set goals that will be celebrated whenever they gather every 8th March for the International Women's Day commemoration. She tipped women to have a specific program to achieve every year with a goal to develop families.
The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has urged women in Uganda to set goals which will be celebrated whenever they gather for the International Women's Day commemoration every 8th of March.
Go celebratinga izoba ry'abakazi buri mwaka. Emyo kufa celebratinga kweme kushitama hamwe tukagamba izoba ryeitu. Kumwa kugira program yanyu ya buri mwaka mukayikiriza theme yimukuza gukora umwaka ogu mukajya ngo hate ntuza gukora iki umwaka ogu omumaka gaitu rero mukakikorera umwaka ogu mwena.
Mrs. Museveni was officiating at the belated Women's Day celebrations for Rwampara district at Bugamba Secondary School playground. It was the second time Mrs. Museveni officiated at a belated Women's Day celebration in a space of 2 days after the earlier one for Ntungamo district, which took place at Chamate Senior Secondary School in Ntungamo municipality. She commended the unity exhibited by the women leaders and legislators in the region and urged them to use it positively to further impact the lives of the people in their respective areas. Mrs. Museveni appreciated the women members of Parliament for Rwampara, Honorable Molly Asimwe, for spearheading development in the area. She contributed 20 million Uganda shillings towards the establishment of a skilling center in Rwampara started by Mrs. Molly Asimwe to skill women and girls who drop out of school.
Mukama Asimwe enamba yanyu yoyonka neyoreka rukundo muri imwe neyoreka ngo numukorera hamwe niyenda kumusima more yabari kwisha okahereza abagwampara umutsindo n'abagenzi bawe ba members ba parliament mwebare koreka okukorera hamwe ekigwanyisiriza yarwanirire ekyemanyisa ni unity niyegeye mumbekire Rwampara niyo rukuhinda Rwampara twena twagire bantu bajurira hati.
About proper nurturing of the girl child, which has been her appeal to parents in the region, the First Lady called upon members of Parliament and other leaders to join the national campaign which was launched in December 2021 to mobilize society against the growing evils of teenage pregnancies. According to Mrs. Museveni, the campaign, supported by UNICEF and UNFPA, was launched after reports showed that owing to the COVID-19 induced lockdowns, many girls had gotten pregnant, became teenage mothers, others acquired sexually transmitted diseases like HIV and AIDS, and many have not managed to return to school.
Ngumore nabagenzi benkoko baryaha abakazi mwabahurira buri umwe yabanagamba ebigambo bye bishoborokire mbwena abakazi ba Uganda ruhanga abahiro mugisha buzima mwabahurira n'abakazi babebembezi haza mbwena nabanimbendeza mnonga nkumwa kukora program ejo buri umwe mu constituency nimwija kureba difference yeru kukora instead of celebrating Women's Day mutaine specific program eyimu celebrating buri mwaka.
A total of 54 million shillings was mobilized, of which 44 million was in cash and 10 million pledges. The Minister of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, promised 10 computers to the Skilling Center. Honorable Mole Asimwe, the woman member of Parliament, Rwampara, appreciated President Yoweri Museveni for appointing women to various posts and high offices, starting with the Honorable Vice President, the Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, to mention but a few, saying,
Nkusima kutwariza je muzeyi okamuretera okukunda abakazi. Manya kuri nomutwariza kubi n'abakazi bakamutamire. Agira atazi kiri kuntama n'omukazi. Atwime entebe. Konka kuwabere cyo kureberaho kirungi. Yagira ati omukazi abe vice president ati nonkwenda kukoragana nawe. Ati omukazi abe prime minister. Ati omukazi azom ministries zamani.
Priscilla Namara reporting.
Police has asked politicians who have plans of holding demonstrations over the surging commodity prices to abide by the provisions of the Public Order Management Act. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga was briefing the media at Naguru Police Headquarters. He said that police will ensure security for the pilgrims walking to Namugongo.
Over the surging fuel and commodity prices.
They have to abide by the provisions of the Public Order Management Act, and we shall definitely counter the retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye if he engages himself with whichever other political groups into acts of illegal assembly. And
Police spokesperson has also revealed that there is an influx of Congolese refugees at Bunagana border. The Inspector General of Police has instructed all territorial commanders to offer security to pilgrims moving to Namugongo.
They have to ensure that the pilgrims have habitable places for sleeping. They usually take their rest at schools, churches, and community centers, so they have to ensure that these places are actually habitable. They also have to restrict the movement of pilgrims under the cover of darkness, since it is risky, and identify those who cannot endure the journey so that they are screened out and given medical attention.
Police has also sent condolences to the National Unity Platform for the loss of its members in the Omoro accident. Fred Enanga says focus is now on the resting day where no politicians will be allowed to campaign, and promised full security on the 84 polling stations.
We shall be on the lookout for door-to-door final push campaigns that are prohibited. There are usually acts of intimidation and threats that are very common on this day, of negative propaganda, media manipulation, political motivated violence. So we are on the lookout for all these.
Deputy Police spokesperson Luke Owesigire has also confirmed restraining Dr. Kiza Besigye from his home as they monitor the situation.
He still has an ongoing campaign of coming to Kampala on foot to protest the skyrocketing prices and other commodities. And that is what he had embarked on, and we had to block him, and in the process of blocking him, there was a physical altercation between him and our officers, and we had to restrain him.
Police is looking for Pastor Samuel Kalibala in Nama Mitiana, alleged to have disappeared with 7 members of one family and 20 others. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
The 16 accused National Unity Platform supporters facing offences of unlawful possession of fire ammunitions out of the remaining 22 who did not apply for bail have applied for bail before Chairman Lieutenant General Andrew Guti at the General Court Martial in Machindi. Unlike 3 accused persons whose bail application did not proceed, the 13 accused persons presented sureties in court. Meanwhile, the same court did not proceed with the hearing of a case against the 32 NUP supporters since the second prosecution witness was absent from court.
13 out of the remaining 22 National Unity Platform supporters who have applied for bail at the General Court Martial in Machindi include Lwanga Stanley, Kavuma Musa, Stephen Musukura, Nyombi Richard, Sechitoleko Yasin, Sharif Kalanzi, Matov Sharif, Katou Umal, Kintu Abdara, Mwase Patrick, Angwiro Robert, and Gakulinde Jimmy. In the last court sitting, 10 out of the 32 NUP supporters, including Seguja Rashid, Lutaya Olivia, Wandela Ibrahim, Matov Abdul, Sechitoleko Abdallah, Lugumayo Robert, Chiwanuka Misach, and Sechitoleko Yasin applied for bail by each presenting two sureties. The accused persons have presented sureties to court, citing that they will abide by the rules set by court. The three accused persons, including Kenneth Kamanya, Muwonge Joseph, and Swaje Mudeba, did not apply for bail.
One, partly because of the time, but then two, there are also some discrepancies in some documents, and then others, the sureties did not make it on time, partly because of the distances and the times they have come to court severally.
With this, 23 of the 32 NUP supporters who are facing offences of unlawful possession of fire ammunitions have so far applied for bail. Meanwhile, the same court has not proceeded with the hearing of the case against the 32 National Unity Platform supporters who are facing charges of unlawful possession of fire ammunitions.
The prosecution said that its witness was not available due to undisclosed reasons, and we didn't object to their prayer for an adjournment for that. Witness they're bringing next, but we imagine to be one of the people they disclosed to us, but whichever we shall be ready for hearing at the time when they are ready.
With this, prosecution led by Lieutenant Colonel Raphael Mugisha prayed to court for more time, which court granted. Court will resume on the 6th of June 2022 for further hearing of the case and bail application. Natong Rebecca, Namamonde Deborah, UBC News.
Over 6,000 refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo have camped at Bunagana Town Council in Kisoro district following renewed fights between the rebels and government forces in eastern DRC. Asylum seekers say that heavy fighting started at around 5 a.m. on Monday, forcing them to escape to the Ugandan side.
The fighting involved heavy artillery and fighter jets, which has forced natives from the Democratic Republic of Congo to vacate. The refugees were seen trekking with their animals, and for candidate students, it is now uncertain whether they will sit for their final examinations. Authorities have decided to harbour them at Nyakabande refugee camp. Tension is now on the local leaders, residents and Bunagana Town Council on how they are going to handle asylum seekers. Bunagana Town Council Ismail Ndayambanje noted challenges of sanitation. Ndayambanje urged government to fulfill its pledge on management of refugees. By press time, security officials were still blocking refugees from accessing the borderline as more gunfire could be heard from the DRC.
National Unity Platform offices in Omoro district have been closed at the last moment of campaigns as the district mobilizers crossed to the ruling NRM camp. The supporters, who were received by the NRM Secretary General Richard Todong, say that they crossed in order to stand with the NRM candidate Ojok, since they are still mourning his father, the late Jacob Olanya.
With only 1 day remaining for the campaigns for Omoro County by-elections to close, the top NUP mobilizers in the 3 sub-counties of Omoro crossed to NRM to support the candidate Andrew Ojok Olanya. They say it is rude to mobilize against someone who has just lost a dad.
Mourning for our fallen speaker. So we have decided to support his son, who is contesting under the party of NRM. That is all.
The offices for the red-colored party in Omoro was later closed. The NRM Secretary General Richard Todong welcomed the NUP mobilizers and pledged to work with them in the remaining 1 day to deliver victory for the NRM candidate.
Ourselves these were young people who are conducting and running the NUP campaign in Odek sub-county, in Achet sub-county, and in Lalugi sub-county. These are the leaders that we have today accepted with them that they should come and support our candidate, and as you were following the meeting, they have accepted to come. Many of them were NRM supporters who were disappointed with the internal wrangles within NRM that forced them to cross to other parties. So when we explain and talk to them, they have since come back home, and we are very happy with what they have shown. And we did this in very many sub-counties where we have been going. And so we've defined our messages very well to the population. They have understood what we stand for. They have understood the purpose of electing the NRM. And we believe that come 26th of this month, we shall win the election.
Last day for campaigns for the candidates is tomorrow, Tuesday, and it is the day Museveni is expected to drum support for the NRM candidate in the race. Philip Aguta, UBC News in Omoro.
Thousands of mourners have paid their last respects to fallen NUP supporter Waiswa Dennis, who died in the Kumi Road traffic accident while heading to Omoro by-election campaigns. The NUP President Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu described the deceased as a person who loved his country and served the party selflessly. The NUP has pledged to take care of his family.
Credit Society Limited bogere emuna gisayininze etuse we aksa mu speaker owaiganga Northern Division naye twabadde ku simu n'omwana nga tumugamba imirize motoka yonna ebaduse mu ddwaliro nenga atugamba nti buli motoka gye tuyimiriza neraba abantu abagudde kuba abafunye accident ayongeramu bongeze speed batyo okuyimirira ne tuyomba lwaki abantu tebayimirira kuyamba muntu naye ate bwe twabadde tuva Omoro munange siba NRM kubanga twabadde tuva Omoro ekiro naffe kenyini ne tusanga omusajja nga yebase mu kkubo bodaboda yegudde wali nga clear afudde nengamba omulenzi yabadde anvuga mak ne mugamba yimirira eri muto n'agamba nedda sebo toyimirira nimakavuga emmotoka tugende.
Members of Parliament from Bukedi sub-region in eastern Uganda want to establish a trauma center for handling accident victims. The idea follows increasing road accidents in the country, with Mbale-Tirinyi Road having one of the hotspot and black spots. Butembo County Member of Parliament Dr. Lodoi Patrick Mutono says that the Canadian government-funded the initiative will cost $360 million US.
Parents have been crippled, women injured, and children orphaned due to mismanagement of accident victims. Recently, Uganda police released an annual crime report showing serious and fatal traffic road accidents recorded. Tirinyi Road, the gateway to eastern Uganda, was unfortunate to contribute to the reported statistics. Legislators from Bukedi sub-region now want to manage road accident victims.
Right now, the only place we can go to is, I think, at Tutur Hospital, where they fixed bones. But every hospital is struggling to manage these cases. So we want to establish an emergency trauma center in Budaka.
The proposed trauma center will decongest Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, which is overwhelmed.
Mbale Hospital is very congested. And then Palisa is very far. Then Tororo is very far. We have been trying to convince government that we upgrade some of these two units so that Mbale can be decongested. But the policy right now, I think because of funding, they don't have such plans.
Programmed to be established in the Eastern District of Budaka, the proposed trauma center will act as an orthopedic training center for other facilities.
Government of Canada is willing to come and construct this hospital, finish it, train us, and after about 2 years, that we are working well, hand over the keys to the what? To the government to take over.
The Canadian government-funded project has been welcomed by other Bukedi sub-regional MPs.
Most of the structures of the current hospital may be put down and build an ultra-modern hospital, which will not only handle mental illness, but will act also as a regional hospital on those other aspects.
Every effort around health, for us at Bukedi, we need it. Because we know we have potential, we have those cases.
The legislators have since met the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among Annette, who pledged to support the $360 million United States dollar initiative. Henry Okrut, UBC.
The chairman, Ernest Cook Ultrasound Research and Education Institute, Professor George Kiria, has asked government to focus on improving the livelihood of health workers.
Is one of the young institutions teaching health workers, and it teaches specific health workers, and that is health workers who are responsible for what we call imaging, which is very important, particularly as far as diagnosis is concerned. It is actually international, discouraging when we see that well-trained health workers, like our graduates from HL, are given low salaries.
Thank you so much for watching. Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs join this year's Africa Liberation Day in recognition of Pan-African heroes and the gallant officers and men of the UPDF who have sacrificed for peace and stability across the African continent. The Pan-African movement have partnered with Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs seeking cooperation to celebrate the day on the 25th of May, 2022.
Uganda will join the world to commemorate African Liberation Day on 25th May 2022 at Kololo Independence Grounds. African Liberation Day is the annual commemoration of the founding of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, on 5th May 1963.
To ensure that everyone's opinion and welfare or well-being matters. So at the Pan-African Federalist Movement, we believe that we should make sure we realize the dream of Africa's unification.
Defense spokesperson Brigadier General Felix Kraije says the celebration is in line with government ideology of patriotism.
Defense and Veterans Affairs has partnered with the Pan-Africanists to mark and celebrate the day in line with our government ideology of patriotism and Pan-Africanism, as is always emphasized by our Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency President Museveni.
African Liberation Day is celebrated in various countries on the African continent.
We believe Africa, as our mother, must be emancipated by the Africans themselves. So on such a day, when we commemorate the liberation of all the African countries from colonialism, we as Ugandans should be very enthusiastic about participating in this celebration almost the whole day.
This year's theme on Africa Day is Unification of Africa through Original Integration of African States. This year's celebration in recognition of Pan-African heroes like Kwame Nkrumah, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, and the gallant officers of UPDF on Pan-African duties in Somalia, Democratic Republic of Congo, and across the continent. Mutesa Sira Haruna, UBC.
Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development wants to incorporate Uganda Prison Service in their anti-gender and sexual violence programs. The Commissioner, Gender and Women Affairs, Angela Nakafero, says that prisons play a vital role in the rehabilitation and reintegration of sexual-related offenders. She was opening a 4-day gender and sexual violence-related training meeting for prison warders and training staff at Kampala.
Despite the involvement of police, judicial officers, social workers and medical workers in the various anti-sexual and gender-based violence programs, Ministry of Gender and Social Development has found prison service to be missing such programs. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has a strategy to integrate the prison service in such programs. The Commissioner, Gender and Women Affairs, Angela Nakafero, made the assurance while presiding over the opening of a 4-day sexual and gender-based violence training workshop for prison staff at Hotel Africana in Kampala.
We engage prisons effectively in terms of the implementation of ongoing programs. And on that note, I sincerely apologize. I think, Madam Maggie, we need to wake up so that we prioritize prison service as part of our programs, ongoing programs for GBV prevention and response.
Statistics from the Ministry of Gender show that sexual and gender-based violence cases constitute 36% of all crimes reported in police. The Commissioner responsible for rehabilitation and reintegration in Uganda Prison Service, Edabes Namfuka, highlighted the inadequate social workers in the service.
Uganda Prisons requires the services of professional social workers, medical staff whose numbers are not anywhere near the desired staff to inmate ratio in order to effectively rehabilitate the inmate and especially the sexual perpetrators.
Some of the prison instructors in the training said that the training will facilitate their work.
So it will help us to teach the staff, because all the staff have to pass in the training, so it will help us to teach the staff on how to manage and how to handle the SGBV.
Shall be able to tell them what they're supposed to do when they get out, when they pass out, to prisoners.
The training is facilitated by the Great Lakes Regional Training Facility. Edward Colin Juko in Kampala.
Napompom Sub-County LC3 chairperson in Kotindo District, Paul Lowok, was gunned down by suspected Karamoja warriors. Lowok was among the suspects arrested during the cordon and search on the 17th of May 2022 in Napompom Sub-County on suspicion that he was armed. Lowok was released on Friday after screening. It is alleged that warriors suspected him to have reported them to the forces.
Brother is going to give you. We have handed over your.
During a peace capacity building meeting conducted by the Mary Goret Kitoto and Deputy Director ISO, Kano Emi Katavazi in Nakabale Trading Center in Panyangara Sub-County, Lowok confirmed that Karamoja had guns, but he asked government to give 8 million shillings to each gun returned to enable others to hand in the illegal firearms.
If you want these guns, they're there. I'm not saying that guns are not there. Warriors have guns. But do this, give an example. If a person has brought a gun, please pay him at that time. So that pay 5 million. They are being written down and their names are in security posts, RDC, the DSOs, whatever.
So number of animals from Napak.
This is Lowok Paul. Previously, he was among the profiled criminals that he was on the wanted list. But through engagements and dialogue, he confessed to the security forces and he was pardoned and granted that temporary amnesty, having been allowed or himself testified that would bring the illegal firearm and also mobilize others at large to hand in the legal firearms voluntarily. So he was granted that amnesty and also put him on a pen arrest.
Suspecting that if this warrior soul walk in the vehicle of the diesel being brought from the brigade to Napumpum using the vehicle of the diesel, they could have suspected it to have become an informer. So then number two, another angle that could have led to his death is, look, there was a gun the work was supposed to have delivered to the brigade today at 9 a.m. But it is very unfortunate that before he delivers that gun to the brigade, he has been killed. Because I remember even the division commander told me yesterday that the work called him and said, General, I am managing to convince the warrior to surrender the gun. So tomorrow at 9, I am bringing the gun to the brigade.
This act of criminality again, and this is a sign of lawlessness in this sub-region, and we commit ourselves as security forces to continue to pursue these criminal elements, arrest them, prosecute them until security and peace is restored in the sub-region.
The Uganda Transfusion Services, in partnership with Kotiamaka UBC program, have a partnership to boost the blood bank through promoting blood donation programs. That is what we have and more on return from the break. Thank you so much for watching. Let's have the break first.
Have waka, you bust the eyes through me about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo. Look at you waka, see my waka that I got with Momo.
Show them waka with MTN Momo Nyabo. Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Football packages, great entertainment, sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Go TV, this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Fun is our flavor. When we're together, the vibe is pretty alright. Our taste is fruity awesome. We are Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment. Enjoy Mirinda Fruity, Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is back on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasaja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end HIV by 2030. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tobani Center, New Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAIDS, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
Be alert. Do not share your Airtel Money PIN number with anyone. Airtel Uganda employees will never ask for your Airtel Money PIN number on call, SMS, or by email. All SIM card registrations, SIM card verifications, or SIM swaps are done at clearly branded Airtel shops and not on phone. To report any fraudulent activity, please call 100 immediately. The official calling number for Airtel promotions is 0200 100 100 100. Stay alert on Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Yes, the Uganda Blood Transfusion Services, in partnership with the Koti Yamaka, one of our programs here at UBC, have partnered to help and boost the blood bank. Samuel Davis Wante, a clinical team leader at the Uganda Blood Transfusion, I beg your pardon, Samuel Stephen Wante, a clinical team leader at the UBTS, says that the campaign is slated for Thursday, the 26th of May at the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Gardens. This initiative comes at a time of increased road accidents that have left many casualties in need of blood.
From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we will only leave until whoever has come to donate has been able to donate. You can come in thousands. We have the capacity to attend to whoever is going to donate blood. All you have to make sure is that you are healthy, you've eaten something, and then at the same time, you are not maintaining your life on medication, and you are between 17 years to 55 years a lady, 17 years to 60 years a man. Kindly join us. Do it every 3 months a man. Do it every after 4 months a lady. We will be grateful and will be readily available to collect that blood and save a mother that needs it. Collect blood and save a child that needs it. Collect that blood and save the father that needs it. I want to remind us that there are so many advantages in donating blood. Apart from saving the life of that patient that needs blood, even you, the blood donor, can benefit so much when you donate blood. Research has showed that when you donate blood, you are able to minimize the risk of developing hypertension. You are able to minimize the risk of gaining unnecessary weight. You are able to minimize the risk of developing blood clots. You are able to minimize the risk of developing cancer of the throat, cancer of the lungs, cancer of the liver, cancer of the big intestine, especially the rectum. You are able to prevent developing heart attacks. And also for my brothers who are there, you are able to maintain your home in family matters.
Fort Portal Catholic Diocese has flagged off over 2,000 foot pilgrims from districts making Fort Portal and Kasese dioceses. The flagging off exercise started with the mass led by Fort Portal Catholic Diocese Bishop Robert Muhirwa at Virika Cathedral.
The clergy dressed in red, led by the bishop, lined up to start the mass. The church was filled by pilgrims who sang songs of praise. In his homily, Fort Portal Diocese Bishop Muhirwa asked pilgrims to trek in the footsteps of Uganda Matters.
In the name of the Father,
Pilgrims, both young and old, walked through Fort Portal City carrying jerrycans, polythene bags and umbrellas, singing praise songs directed by traffic police. Many say they are walking to pray for peace, safety on the road, and their own personal needs.
Sabira Uganda yitwe n'obusinge n'akalembe kaloko kubasabira abukubihanga litu kusana mahanga gandi
ila shabira namaka ganje kutunga obusinge kandi shabire n'abagenzi banje muno nabo barweire.
This 13-year-old pilgrim and orphan is also working to pray for sponsorship to educate her after dropping out of school.
Because I have stopped studying because of school fees, and I asked the president to help us.
Others are working to thank God for life after the long struggle with COVID-19 pandemic.
Ekigendero kyange kiri kusiima Ruhanga kurora abantu abafiire mu bwire bwa lockdown omwaka oguhoire batolekaga ama TV emirambo endi bakisibaga mu biveera nibagyokya bwokya baititu kurora tukyaro kyalibomezi ninyakaguza ninyowoha.
According to Father Charles Oyo, the Diocesan Matters Chairperson Organizing Committee, the first stopover will be at Villa Maria Parish, Kaihura, in Chenjojo district.
Expect them to be in Namugongo on the 30th, and on this that eve of 30th and 31st they will be having that grand entry into Namugongo, and the bishop will be there.
Fort Portal Diocese will lead this year's Matters celebration on 3rd June on the theme Sent to Witness Christ with Love and Hope.
We wish them a safe journey, and as UBC will join them on the trek to Namugongo. Buhweju MP Francis Mwijushe has appealed to fellow legislators and leaders to utilize Uganda Matters Day to pray for the country's economic crisis. Mwijushe, who is currently leading 56 pilgrims from Buhweju district, including a 78-year-old woman walking to Namugongo, challenged MPs to pray for the nation.
This is a 56 group of pilgrims from Buhweju walking to Namugongo to commemorate the Uganda Matters Day. In the group is the 78-year-old woman Priscilla Chibetenga from Butare Parish. This is her 5th time walking to Namugongo, but her experience is worth sharing.
Arasijo byona yankurata ndamha byo nebyayorecherire mpendere n'amagara gatarho mwene byo byona kabimpa amatungo abana emisiri byona kabimpa ati nyinza kwenda magara gatarho.
Chibetenga says ever since she started the pilgrimage, her life changed, including the endless illnesses that would attack her. Even when she faced a lot of challenges while walking, to her, nothing good comes without sacrifice.
Even vivaho neverunye vivaho wongiwa no sharamu no musherura kiri hi yabo kuba byone byo kuba no yenda niwabini mwene byo kuzakwe.
The group led by the Buhweju MP Francis Mwijushe left Buhweju yesterday evening, and by press time they had reached Kanyanyeru, the border of Mbarara and Kiruhura. Whereas it rained heavily on them, the pilgrims kept focused on their way. Mwijushe told UBC that walking to Namugongo is faith-based sacrifice that majority MPs and leaders should follow.
You can be a leader in politics and serve your God and serve your church. You can be a political leader but also be faithful, be religious. But that we appreciate the sacrifice of Uganda Matters in sowing a seed for Christianity in this country. But also at a time when we have all these challenges in the country, we the leaders should lead the way in asking for God's intervention. We the leaders, because at the end of the day, we lead and others follow us.
As the country continues to grapple with high commodity prices, Mwijushe believes the Matters Day will change the narrative.
We need to appreciate the faith, the powerfulness in the Uganda Matters and what they are capable of doing for our country, especially at the time in Uganda when we have skyrocketing prices, when people can't afford school fees, when the economy is down. We need to pray to God and ask Him for forgiveness and ask Him for intervention, because where we are now, we need God's intervention.
Over 3 Catholic churches closed in Lira Diocese as Christians thronged the ordination grounds in Lira City to receive blessings from His Holiness, the Papal Nuncio of Uganda, Archbishop Luigi Bianco. The Pope's representative to Uganda was on a special visit in the diocese to impart apostolic blessings to Christians. He was invited to re-energize Christians spiritually after going through several challenges, especially the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hundreds of Catholic churches in Lira Diocese remained closed on Sunday as Christians went to the ordination ground for apostolic blessings. The crowd had believers from Ngetana Bokedinaris struggling to touch his vestment for healing and blessing. The excited and cheerful Christians sang and danced to animate the special mass led by the Most Reverend Luigi Bianco. Before blessing believers, His Holiness charged the children of God to cherish the peace of Christ and reconciliation. He said oftentimes Christians engage in acts that drives the Spirit of God away.
Especially we pray the Holy Spirit to make all of us artisans of peace, also when it is difficult. But we have to trust in the works of Jesus in peace.
Christians ask His Holiness to help them pray for peace, climate change and commodity prices. However, many who came for the Mass did not go back the same.
This is significant because as a community of Sant'Egidio, we work for peace. That we have to go back and start working for peace right from our families and outside the world.
So I believe the message he has brought to us, and it will be a turning point, especially in our diocese.
The one who unites and not divide in any way, in no means. So this is another aspect of forming a community of people of Lango sub-region so that we may achieve.
The Most Reverend Luigi Bianco concluded this apostolic visit in Lira Diocese today. Christians offered him gifts in appreciation of his visit and to fetch more blessings. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
What the book packages, great entertainment, sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Go TV, this is where our best stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Jennifer, Jukira, Rewagamba, I don't have waka. You passed the ice through me about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo.
Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
The Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority has organized a 3-day expo from the 8th to the 10th of July. The expo aims at training stakeholders on electronic procurement to enhance economic growth, connect business and effect procurement systems.
This year's Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority Expo is part of the journey to handle the post-COVID-19 period.
We would want to revive our economy at the end of all this. It's not about just meeting and talking and eating, no. This is business unusual, because we must make sure that at the end of it all, the results out of this expo are benefiting from top to bottom.
The Executive Director Benson Tulami encourages business owners to embrace the electronic government procurement in order to exhibit, collaborate and grow together.
If you are going to do business with government, you must understand that you are going to bid through IT. You must register. That's why we were talking about registering at expo. Otherwise, if you don't register, you'll never see the business opportunity.
The exposition is to sensitize communities on available opportunities. Sectors like agribusiness, education and tourism will be part of the expo. Miriam Omcha, UBC News.
Even with my grandson, a doctor at my side, I struggled to get the help I needed. But he saw something that day. He began to work day and night. He wouldn't quit, even when people said no. He wouldn't stop fighting. He knew something had to change, and his vision was bigger than anyone could imagine. He made it possible to receive quality medical services anywhere in Uganda by simply using a phone.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Team Uganda has returned with 7 medals from the World Schools Games in France. 2 gold medals, 1 silver and 4 other medals, all from athletics, put Uganda 19th overall at the games that attracted the whole world. Chekomoy Lois and Jebet Morin won gold for Uganda. Victor Cheroik won silver and bronze, while Priscilla Akelo won silver. Uganda took participants in badminton, basketball, athletics and other sports disciplines, only to win medals in athletics. Focus now is on the East African Games later this year.
Matters of sport development at all levels of government, which has not been there before. I note that we are now moving forward because we have given all the justification to government to provide the resources required for development. I note Honorable Member of Parliament is here, but while away, I received already the report of additional funding to the subsector. I also know Uganda Secondary School Association funding has been double.
And that brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Makerere Lukomwa. Enjoy the rest of the night with the whole team here. Bye-bye and good night.
The Electoral Commission appointed 16th Monday to 24th Tuesday, May 2022 as the period for candidates' campaign meetings for the by-election of directly elected Member of Parliament for Omoro County and District Women Councillor representing Lalogi, Lakwaya electoral area. Campaign meetings will commence at 7 a.m. and end at 6 p.m. on each of the campaign dates. During this period, candidates shall not use or publish any language or defamatory words which incite disorder, hatred, violence, or which threaten war. The Commission urges all candidates, their agents, and the public to adhere to the harmonized program and set rules and regulations guiding the campaign period. Voting shall be by universal adult suffrage and shall take place at all polling stations in Omoro County constituency beginning at 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. Thereafter, counting of votes and declaration of results shall take place. Political parties and independent candidates are encouraged to station their agents at polling stations throughout the constituency. Other than observing the exercise, candidates' agents shall not be expected to interfere with the polling process. All persons participating in the above electoral exercises shall be required to comply with guidelines issued by the Electoral Commission in accordance with the Government of Uganda and Ministry of Health measures against the spread of COVID-19. This includes observing social distancing and wearing of masks. Signed by Justice Byabakama Mugenyi Simon, Chairperson, Electoral Commission.
From the UBC Auditorium is proudly brought to you by
I will love you. You wish.
I'm not faking this, not focusing. You see these feelings, I'm not catching. I'm on best and feet, I just want to be happiness. If I broke down my business, I'ma show you go right. Hey, all I get for the night. Whatever you want to go. Happiness. If I broke down my business, I'ma show you go right. All I get for the night. If you be the reason why your baba want to jealous me. If you want to take us serious, I do top speed. No fit to resonate, I'm on a different frequency. I don't think it's necessary. I be done with somebody that could do like me. When I be like Musana coming off the right wing, I cut to your defender, you no need to tell me. I'm a house, finesse. You know, send me, I'm a snack. I will carry go. If me, I got money past you. If you're not careful, finesse. You know, send me a must. If I got money past you, if you're not careful, one more time, say. If I broke down my business, I know you go right. All I care for the night. If I broke down my business, I know you go right. Let's go. Yeah. Give me give me a don't sata naked. Give me a champion naked. Give me a I was not naked. Give me a ragamuffin naked. Give me a don't sata naked. Give me a champion naked. Give me a I was not naked. Some of them for the pictures on the map generate. Not for them I'm paying for the style I create. Give it to the saints. Not for them narrate. No more said I'm from and the good things I instigate. Not for them I blink cause the music how we sing. Now we send them to the ring and let how we post the thing. That's what I never fight. Cause we brothers in a fight. Stand like I'm ready for the money and cast. Not for them I be sick. They put me in the mask. Cause I would have blessed to tell them no man cast. No man cast. No man cast. No man cast. Give me a ragamuffin naked. Give me a don't sata naked. Give me a champion naked. Give me a I was not naked. Give me a ragamuffin naked. Give me a don't sata naked. Give me a champion naked. Give me a I was not naked. Onorata bukuma serikali kenda muka akamanyika tekora wani kama maziga mwana watuka ingesa suwa kaganga siri mukina sitewe taka kupinda uchindu wa uleti nuje chini muhora jalante deni na kukakasane mugumu kama ya pesa mukekone nyoko mefumu chotega na kuwakana na wele chicho evite mitoje kumisa wate chivira toisa kumara konga tulina mulima kwa mazira kola bange basi wera kumye wadi Give me a ragamuffin naked. Give me a don't sata naked. Give me a champion naked. Give me a I was not naked. Give me a ragamuffin naked. Give me a don't sata naked. Give me a champion naked. You miss a talker. You miss a speaker. You miss a you're not a teacher. You miss a